Welcome to another episode of the Education Escape podcast, a podcast where teachers can come and talk about their teaching experiences, stories, and approaches. My name is Robbie, and I'm here with my co-host Julius. Today's topic is educational philosophies and how all educators should have their own philosophies when it comes to them being an educator. Now, personally, there's two people that I've drawn inspiration from and applied it to my own educational philosophy. One of those two people being John Dewey. For those of you who are listening and or watching and have no idea who John Dewey is, let me educate you. John Dewey was one of the top American intellectuals for the first half of the 20th century, striving for a more progressive education. He was also seen as an educational reformer who valued experiences, democracy in education, and also an integration curriculum. What do you know about John Dewey, Julius? Wow, that was very insightful, Julius. And to add to that, I believe education is precious and ever more important in the world we live in now. Kids can no longer just sit down and listen for a whole lesson due to the development of shorter attention spans, seen through many articles, one in particular done by the Ox Journal, highlighting the issues of shrinking attention spans can be identified in children that are subjected to technology and social media. This links to one of Dewey's key philosophies on learning by doing, which aligns with tools like virtual backpacks, enabling students to actively collect and reflect on their learning, personalizing it for themselves. Now, you may wonder what this means. Well, I and also Dewey believe students thrive in more active and hands-on learning experiences, which captures attentions and creates a more engaging lesson, which is very similar in what John Dewey strove for. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. I found that when students in class would include more learning activities where we had to actively carry out what we were learning physically, it was much easier to retain everything, as I found myself more engaged with the lesson. I think I will definitely be incorporating active and hands-on learning in my lessons, in hope of finding very positive results as I did when I was a student myself. As in this approach, students will be participant in their own learning, not only having a sit down and retain information, as it is more valuable when it aligns with students' interests, experiences, or environment. Dewey's philosophy helps me prioritize experimental learning, problem solving, and reflection, and prepares students to live thoroughly in a modern society. Do you have anything to add to that, Julius? Another figure's philosophy I like to cover today with you, Julius, is Sir Ken Robinson's philosophy on if you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. This refers to what we were talking about earlier, about how with this changing and progressive world we currently live in, creativity needs to be prioritized more than ever. There needs to be a much more unique approach to the way educators go about doing their lessons. What this may look like? Well, I think it must be broken down into a couple of things. One, that every child is unique and talented in their own way. Not all students should just be judged by standardized tests. Two, that the approach to teaching children should be prioritized, bringing out their creativity and encouraging them to critically think outside the box. And the system should not be just one size fitting, but fitting the sides of a vast range of learning styles for students, helping them not to be discouraged by a result on a test. This aligns with the philosophy Robinson believed in, that education should help flourish students' creativity, passions, and unique skills they will need in their life. In my opinion, I think having a much more progressive system would be very vital for the future of these kids' lives. Being able to recognize imaginations and help provide assistance in individual growth amongst students will create a much more effective problem-solving people when they leave school. Now, I know as I go on, my philosophies on education will change, and so will Julius's. I must strive to stay strong in what I believe in, and push and integrate my beliefs and philosophy into the way I educate my students. As the world changes, the way we educate students must change too. I must reach out for help and ideas to be more creative in the way I go about my lessons, to help shape students and prepare them for a more progressive world, instilling confidence within themselves and bringing out their creativity and develop an engaging environment to best prepare them for when they leave school. And that concludes our episode on the educational philosophies. Once again, my name is Robbie, my co-host is Jules. Julius, and we hope this episode educated you. And we'll see you all next time.